Attention passionate San Francisco 49ers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on San Francisco 49ers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true San Francisco 49ers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and San Francisco 49ers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. As we dive into this latest development, you've got to understand that the San Francisco 49ers are at a critical crossroads right now. The NFL offseason and preseason are always full of surprises, but this story about the 49ers secondary and the potential roster cuts is especially intriguing. It's a perfect example of how the competition in training camp can shake things up and redefine the team's future outlook, especially when it comes to their defensive backfield, which has been a focal point of discussion during this offseason. And if you've been following the 49ers closely, you know that their secondary has been a mix of established veterans and young, hungry players eager to make their mark. But what's really grabbing headlines now is the situation involving Tre Brown, the current favorite to be the third cornerback and a key player in the nickel role, and how that might change in the coming weeks. So, let's start by setting the stage. Tre Brown, who was originally drafted by the Seattle Seahawks in the 4th round of the 2021 NFL Draft, signed with the 49ers in March 2025 on a one-year, $1.7 million contract. Many fans immediately assumed that Brown would slot in as the third cornerback behind Diamador Lenoir and the starting nickel, given his experience and the potential he showed during his time with Seattle. And initially, the team's first unofficial depth chart even listed Brown as the starter at nickel corner, which seemed to confirm that he had the inside track to make the roster and start in Week 1. But as we all know, NFL training camp and preseason games are the ultimate audition, and what happens on the field can often tell a different story from the initial projections. In the 49ers' first preseason game, even though most of the starters spent the game as spectators, Brown played into the second half. That's often a sign that a player is being tested, evaluated, and given a chance to prove he belongs. But here's the catch. While Brown has the experience and the initial favor, the competition behind him has been heating up. We're talking about rookies like Upton Stout, who's a third-round pick, and Chase Lucas, a veteran special teamer who's been fighting for a spot. Both have been impressing coaches during camp, and their performances have been turning heads. For example, Stout has been outstanding throughout camp, so much so that some insiders are saying he's now the favorite to start opposite Diamador Lenoir. That's no small feat for a rookie, especially considering the 49ers' emphasis on developing young talent and building a versatile, athletic secondary. And it's not just the camp reports, it's also what we saw in the preseason game. Lucas, for instance, was all over the field against the Denver Broncos, tying for the team lead with 8 total tackles and even recording a pass breakup. That kind of production, especially from a guy who's primarily been a special teams player, really highlights how competitive this roster battle has become. The truth is, NFL training camps are ruthless. If you don't impress, there are always younger, hungrier players waiting in the wings ready to take your job. And Tre Brown, despite his initial promise, just hasn't made that standout impression that cements his spot on the roster. This is precisely why fans should keep a close eye on the remaining preseason games. The 49ers' coaching staff will be watching intently as these battles unfold. The young cornerbacks, especially Upton Stout and Chase Lucas, are making strong cases to be more than just camp standouts. They're positioning themselves as potential starters in the upcoming season. And in the NFL, where injuries and unexpected setbacks are common, having versatile, confident players ready to step up is crucial. Now, let's talk a little about the broader picture. The 49ers' secondary has been a topic of discussion throughout this offseason because of their youth movement. The team is leaning towards a younger core, with players like Stout, Sigel, Green, Jigyr Brown, and Lenoir all being 25 or younger. That youthful energy could be a game changer for the 49ers, especially when it comes to defending against the explosive passing attacks in the NFC West and the NFC overall. The division has some formidable quarterbacks, and having a secondary that's fast, aggressive, and confident will be essential if the 49ers want to repeat as division champions and make another deep playoff run. But getting back to the immediate concern, the potential cut of Trey Brown. According to Bleacher Report NFL analyst Gary Davenport, Brown is predicted to be cut before Week 1. That's a bold statement, and it highlights how competitive this roster battle truly is. Davenport pointed out that while Brown played well into the second half of the first preseason game, NFL teams value defensive backs with starting experience, and ultimately, if Brown can't consistently impress, he might have to look elsewhere for a spot on another team. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially considering Brown's talent and experience in Seattle, but it's also a stark reminder of how brutal NFL roster cuts are. The key takeaway here is how the young players are seizing their opportunities. Upton Stout has been a standout all offseason, and the fact that many insiders now see him as the favorite to start opposite Diamador Lenoir speaks volumes about his development. Lucas, meanwhile, has been a revelation on defense, especially in that first preseason game, where he made a significant impact. Their performances are a clear indication that the 49ers are betting on youth and talent to build the foundation of their secondary for years to come. The team's coaching staff has always been known for their ability to identify and develop young talent, and it looks like they're doubling down on that philosophy this season. Of course, all of this means that the roster battles remain open, and nothing is guaranteed until the final cuts are made. Fans should be excited, but also cautious, because in the NFL, the line between a roster spot and being shown the door can be razor-thin. The remaining preseason games will be critical, especially for players like Brown, who are fighting to hold on to their spots. It's a story that embodies the very essence of NFL competition: talent, effort, and opportunity all coming together in a high-stakes environment. And let's not forget the broader context. The San Francisco 49ers have been one of the most exciting teams in recent NFL history. With their dominant defense, innovative coaching under Kyle Shanahan, and explosive offensive weapons, they've been perennial contenders. But the league is always evolving, and roster construction is more important than ever. Young cornerbacks like Upton Stout and Chase Lucas could be the next wave of stars for this team, helping them stay competitive and perhaps even pushing them to new heights. For fans, this is a season full of promise, but also one where every game, every snap, could be decisive in shaping the final roster. The coaching staff has a tough task ahead, balancing experience with youth, and making those critical decisions that will determine whether players like Trey Brown are part of that future or looking for opportunities elsewhere. It's a fascinating storyline, and one that will undoubtedly unfold over the next few weeks as the roster takes its final shape. Now, I want to highlight one more aspect that's been gaining attention: the impact of injuries and how they influence roster decisions. Kevin Givens, for example, is dealing with a pectoral injury that is expected to keep him out until some point into the regular season. That absence could open up even more opportunities for younger players to step in and prove themselves, which further intensifies the competition. It's a reminder that the NFL is as much about resilience and depth as it is about talent. The 49ers, front office and coaching staff will need to navigate these challenges carefully, ensuring they're prepared for whatever the season throws at them. In this context, the future of the 49ers secondary looks bright, especially with the youth movement gaining momentum. Players like Sigel, Green, and Jigger Brown are all under 25, and their development will be crucial to the team's success in 2025 and beyond. The potential emergence of new starters from this group could give the 49ers an even more dynamic and versatile defense, capable of adapting to different offensive schemes and challenging some of the best quarterbacks in the league. In summary, the story of Trey Brown's potential departure, the rise of young cornerbacks like Upton Stout and Chase Lucas, and the ongoing roster battles encapsulate everything fans love about NFL football: competition, unpredictability, and hope for the future. The next few weeks will be critical, not just for Brown, but for all these young players who are fighting to make their mark and secure their place in the NFL. The 49ers have built a team with a solid foundation, but it's these battles that will define their season. Will Tree Brown be part of that future, or will he be one of the many talented players left behind when the final cuts are made? Only time will tell. And now, San Francisco 49ers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe Tree Brown will find a spot elsewhere, or do you think he still has a chance to turn things around? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest San Francisco 49ers news. Thanks for being part of this journey, and as always, go Niners.